We are back with more Porterverse lore ramblings. Oh yeah, this is episode 7. Here we go. Number 1. Stephen is actually not the original rocket locomotive that currently resides at York. The Stephen that we are familiar with is actually the engine that was from the 1920s Buster Keaton film Our Hospitality. After the film's release, it is unknown where this replica of Will went. But regardless, it managed to surface for long enough in the early 70s for Robert Norby to come along and purchase it for the Ulfstead Castle Railway. And Stephen was fully restored to work in order just in time for the railway's opening in 1974, where he still works today. Pretty cool. Number 2. Thomas the Tank Engine and Box Hill are actually really good friends. But how, you may ask, when Thomas never worked on the LBSER in the Porterverse? Allow me to explain. So, in 1912, the Knapford and Ulster Rail was greatly expanding and became the Knapford, Arlesborough, and Ulfstead Railway. And so the KNUR and the LBSER struck up a deal that saw an engine and a handful of rolling stock be brought over on a multi-year loan deal for construction. And Box Hill was the engine in question, and Box Hill remained on Sodor before returning to the mainland in around 1923 before grouping. And it was around this time they got to know Thomas and became good friends. And fast forward to around 1960, and a rail tour set to travel to Sodor, and it was confirmed that a Terrier class will be pulling this rail tour. And you can imagine Thomas getting excited, as he might see his good old friend Box Hill again after nearly 40 years. You can imagine his utter disappointment when Stepney, a completely different Terrier, showed up instead. And thus the events of Thomas and Stepney unfold for the most part as it does in the TV series. But Thomas would see Box Hill again at the big railway gala in York in 1991, after nearly 70 years. They did a lot of catching up after that, to say the least. Number 3. The Flying Scotsman will visit Sodor frequently while in preservation. And these visits really kicked up in frequency in the 2010s, and he most often visits the Ulfstead Castle Railway whenever he's on Sodor. But he always makes sure to catch up with his brother Gordon whenever he visits. And for those wondering, he remains in his Eleni or Apple Green livery with 2 tenders.
Because BR Green son.
Number 4. Mr. Jelly's chocolate factory resides on the Peel Gotcha branch line, north of Kronk to be exact, and it lies at the bottom of a hill. And it first opened with the branch line in 1925. Percy will end up crashing into it in 1953 with his infamous chocolate crunch accident, and that will cause the factory to close for a good few years. But it would reopen in 1969 with an even bigger factory than before, which still sees regular rail traffic to this very day. Number 5. Rebecca was built in 1947 and was placed on the northwestern region of British Railways, where she often hauled commuter services. But in 1965, she collided with another commuter train caused by a points failure. And a few people sadly perished in this accident, including Rebecca's crew and Rebecca herself, sadly. A memorial plaque was placed at the collision site and is dedicated to her and those who perished that night. Number 6. Bo, yes, that Bo that Bachman is making out of nowhere, actually worked on the Big City Railroad for a decent bit, hence why he has buffers. And he's drawn around 1900 or so, and he actually managed to survive long enough to become a static display at the Ulfstead Castle Railway.
That's right.
Our good old friend Sir Robert Normally managed to scoop up Bo for his Castle Railway, and Bo still resides at the castle to this very day. Number 7. Our Percy that we know and love came about in 1926. It was in this year that several of the mainland engines went on strike, as they demanded a new shunter be placed at Knapford Station for their coaches. Tom had the first acts accordingly, and he managed to get a copy of an old saddle tank engine from the Robert Heath Sons and Company, specifically the number 6 engine. He modified the blueprints designed to have a bunker on the back for longer journeys, and after a few months of built construction, Percy emerged from the works and became the Knapford pilot. In 1955, Duck took over this process, and Percy was promoted to the Ulfstead branch line with Thomas and Toby, where he still works today. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.